Check, check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go!
Athletes aren't built during the season, they're built here in the off season, where real progress happens. At the Den Sports Performance and Agility Center, they don't just train, they develop. For athletes ages 13 to 17, they offer team packages and individual group training with up to 5 weekly sessions of your choice of dryland or strength-focused work. Every program blends strength, agility, balance, mobility, speed, and recovery with a focus on durability that most programs overlook. Because showing up on game day means staying strong all season. Every session is coached by a certified speed and strength specialist and focused on long-term athletic success, not quick fixes. Flexible programming, real results. The Den Sports Performance and Agility Center is where serious athletes level up. Book your spot now at thedenyqr.ca. Taylor Shire from the Leader Post. So you're not reffing anymore?
No, I hung up the striped jersey last year, so a little bit less time at the rink, but I'm still at the rink quite a bit.
Yeah, less time at the rink, but now you got the daughters playing hockey and ringette. Which one do you like better, hockey or ringette?
Well, you know what? I never played ringette, obviously, growing up. Didn't know much about the sport. She got into it just this last year and has loved it. And it's a unique sport. I really like the rules of it. They say it's a very fast game. It's obviously team-oriented. You have to pass over the blue lines, right? So you can't just have one kid wheeling up the ice by themselves. So, really enjoying ringette and coaching both of them this year. Obviously know lots about hockey, so that's nice to kind of share my love of the game to the younger kids, but loving to learn ringette as well.
So I was a coach for football for my kid. Now yours are 7 and 4. How I don't know if it would be challenging at that age, but it's a bit of a challenge to be a dad and a coach.
Yeah, I try to be coach on the ice and not dad on the ice. Yeah. My dad coached me growing up, and that was sort of what it was. I'm not dad out here. I'm coach out here, and you try to treat them all the same.
So I was kind of bitching to Brent Vandermeulen, the SJHL, WHL linesman. He works out of my gym, the Brick House, and I was talking about how the hell do they miss all those guys at the American bench and not call a penalty? Or how the hell does Czechia have 6 guys on the ice all the way up the ice? And he agreed that one was kind of egregious. But then he showed me this video. He goes, okay, we had to do an awareness video where you got to watch how many times the white team passes the ball to each other. It was a white team and a black team. And so I'm watching, and I was pretty proud of myself because I got it right. There were 13 passes. I said, I could do it. He goes, did you see the moonwalking bear go through the screen? I said, what are you talking about? He goes, there was a moonwalking bear. Then he showed me. I was like, holy shit, I missed that. Yeah. So for you, when you're watching something like that, like I'm bitching, I'm mad at the TV, but you've been on the ice. Just how tough is it to, when things are flying like that, and you've never, hey, no disrespect to you, but you've never reffed an Olympics. Like these are the best of the best.
Yeah, those are strange calls that got missed. I'll say the Czechia one for sure, and that's why there are 4 of them out there. If there was one official out there, yeah, they can easily miss a call or 2, but there's 4 out there. You need to be watching everything, right? The back linesman can be watching over there, and obviously it got missed at the bench, which is usually where you see the too many men be called, is when the change happens. But somehow, some way, somebody slipped on there and continued on in the play. And when you just watch a play, you just think you don't really count. But when you're doing the line change, you're counting. Okay, I see 6. But when the play is happening, you don't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You don't do that as a referee, at least not on a regular basis. So it obviously just looked like a natural play. And then when you sort of took a freeze frame, you're like, oh, there's 6 players on there. So they obviously missed it. I was really surprised Canada wasn't more up in arms right after the goal to approach the officials and say, hey, I think there were some players that say they didn't notice. Some said they did. So yeah, that was a bizarre situation. I'm glad it didn't come down to that. I'm glad we're not talking about a medal determined by a call like that. So
yeah,
all for naught, I guess.
Yeah, and Hellebuck, goalies Canada. Should we be worried in Canada that the Americans are passing us in hockey? I think they are women-wise. Like women-wise, they seem to have Canada's number. Canada went with an older team. But I mean, anybody watching that game knows Canada dominated the men's final.
Yeah, that was an epic gold medal matchup. both men and women. I mean, that's kind of what we all wanted to see. I thought the women's team, I thought they stuck in there, and that game could have went either way. And I really thought the men's team, they were going to get it done. Even after going down 1-0, I think that's exactly where the U.S. wanted to be, is up a goal early and allow their goaltender and their defense to kind of shut Canada down. But after that goal by Matt Boldy, Canada just came on and could not beat Hellebuck aside from that one goal. And you think about the paddle save that he made. Yeah. I think that is obviously a gold medal saving save, but you think about what Charlie McAvoy did. Nobody's really talking about that save when he kind of he gets big in the net and makes that save. And that, to me, is another medal winning save. Nathan McKinnon missing the net. That's another shot that probably he scores 99 times out of 100.
Yeah.
So there's lots of little things that you could have said, oh, are they the better nation at hockey? Well, it comes down to a save here, a save there, a shot here, a shot there. I think it's as close, both men's and women's. It's as close as it has been over the past, how many years? I'd say, 10 years they've been neck and neck, right? Other countries, though, are starting to catch up, and I'd like to see that. We're not seeing to me, it was strange that both men and women came down to Canada, maybe not on the women's side because Canada and U.S. are so dominant, but there's a lot of teams that have been catching up, especially the Euro teams, right? They're coming on strong on the men's side.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, so let's finish our hockey talk. Pat's jersey over my shoulder. Win last night over was Prince George, and they're not solidified yet, but they're in a nice position to make the playoffs, which I think if you're the Pats, you got to be pretty happy with.
Yeah, a month ago, you would have not said that. You would have not said they're solidified to make the playoffs, but they've won 6 out of their last 7, I believe, maybe 7 of 8. So, and to beat Prince George, I mean, that's one of the number 1 teams in the West. They beat Edmonton last weekend. That's a number 1 team in the East. They are beating good teams and getting wins while the other teams around them, Red Deer and Moose Jaw specifically, who they're fighting with for those final 2 playoff spots, are not necessarily picking up these wins. So the Pats are really putting themselves in a good position with just over a dozen games left. So to me, this is a team that has looked better as the months have gone on. They weren't that great in October. They were fine, right? You get the young 15-year-olds kind of figuring things out. Maddox Schultz is now centering the number 1 line and is looking more comfortable and is producing. And then you have the veterans, Keats Fawcett, Caden Brown, Ephraim McNutt, really carrying the team in my opinion. And these were guys who have all kind of came in from different places, right? They were acquired by the Pats in the last couple of years. And to me, they're really putting their stamp on this team, saying we need to get this team into the playoffs, get these young guys some experience, and leave it better than what it was. And I think that's what you can look at is this team, Pat's team, better than what it was last year? Yes. And do they want to be better next year? Yes. So as long as they're trending in the right direction, I think they're in good shape.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I agree with all those points. Riders off season. What would you grade it? If you were grading it between 1 and 10, what would you give it? And it's it's tough to, when you win a Grey Cup, everybody finds out, everybody wants your players, so you can't keep everybody. But out of 10, what would you give the Rough Riders in the off season?
I'm going to say 8. I don't know if there's much more. So why would I not say 9, 10? I don't know if there's much more they could have done. Maybe I think getting a solid, experienced backup quarterback would maybe be the one flaw in what they've done. But in saying that, if you want to develop the next guy, it's Jack Cohn's turn to be thrust into that number 2 role now. So as opposed to getting somebody who's bounced around the league a little bit, they're giving an opportunity, it looks like, to Jack Cohn to be that number 2 guy. And maybe it's his team next year or the year after once Trevor Harris is finally done. But to get Harris back, to get Sam Emilish, Schaefer Baker, Keyshawn Johnson back, AJ Ouellette back, those are all 10 out of 10 moves based on what they did last year. So it's hard to really criticize what they've done. If you think about the holes that they had, I guess, losing Dante Myers to the NFL, they're going to replace him with a rookie American receiver. That's a decision that is mostly based on salary cap. You're not going to chase a big name American receiver in free agency because you need to save some money because everybody else is getting a bit of a pay bump. So that is going to be, I always like to see who's the next, how's your scouting department? Who are you bringing in? So that, I like that move because you have to find the next Keyshawn. You have to find the next Dante. Think back years ago, Shaq Evans, Kyron Moore, Jordan Williams-Lambert, guys like that, they kind of come out of nowhere and then they turn into good CFL players. So I kind of like that move to leave that up to an American. And then on the defensive side, you can't blame them for not paying Malik Carney what he got in Edmonton, and you cannot blame them for not paying AJ Allen what he got in Ottawa. CJ Reavis, to me, I think that would be the one move that I would sort of flip-flop back and forth because he was a really good player for this team for 2 seasons. Again, you have Antoine Brooks Jr., who's going to start at Sam linebacker, though, so you sort of have that replacement in-house, so you can't blame them for not paying CJ Reavis what he got in Ottawa. But they're going to turn the other linebacker spot into an American, so AJ Allen isn't necessarily needed for the ratio. And I guess they got James Vaughters to replace Malik Carney, and then they're going to find a rookie American defensive end to start at the other spot.
Yep.
So how's your scouting department? Is it good? Have you found enough American players to come up and make a camp a really good competition? So I can't really, can't really bash them for any moves that they made or didn't make this offseason. No, because it has been successful in my opinion.
I think you're right. I would put Winnipeg and Saskatchewan in the same category. I think if we're gonna, and you don't win in the off season, but you can lose in the off season with guys. Okay, so I agree with your assessment of the Riders. If you were picking a winner, I'd probably say the Bombers made some really good moves. Saskatchewan and Winnipeg are in the same boat. They both have aging quarterbacks and nobody really proven backing them up. And that's walking a fine line or a tightrope without a net. So that's going to be very interesting. Like Trevor did stay healthy last year, but he's a year older and he has had injury problems over his career. So it doesn't matter what moves you make. If the quarterback spot isn't solidified, then you got some problems. But like you said, at some point you got to move on to the next guy, right? You got to see what the next guy can do in terms of the backup.
And is that Jack Cohen? Well, they obviously think so, whether it's, ideally not this year for them, but is Harris going to come back at 41 next year? We don't know. We've been asking this, into the offseason the past 2 years. Is he going to come back next year? He did, won the Grey Cup. It was like, okay, is he going to come back again this year, having been named the Grey Cup MVP? Why not just retire, drive off into the sunset? No, we got more unfinished business. We're going to run it back. I still feel good. He certainly... The age thing is weird. I mean, is he playing at a level where he's still elite? Yes. Is he slowing down? No. It doesn't matter really how old he is. Sure, there is a timestamp on that, but this arbitrary number of 40 when he starts the season, I don't really think that's relevant. He's an experienced quarterback. He's got veteran awareness, all that stuff that 25-year-old quarterbacks don't have. So to me, again, doesn't matter the age to me. Is he playing as good as he has in his career? Yes.
Hey, you're a younger man, so you haven't been around for all of the playoffs, obviously. But where do you think that Tavon Campbell play ranks in Rough Rider playoff lore at the goal line? Because if Montreal, Lothar misses the field goal, Montreal's coming down. You've watched enough Rider football in your day to know, and in that stadium too, that if Montreal scores here, this touchdown, Riders could be in some serious trouble. But Campbell punches that ball out. Maybe it's a little from column A, and then of course you got Shea Patterson not protecting the ball. But where does that Tavon Campbell play rank in Rider playoff history, in your opinion? Because sorry for cutting you off, we talk about Darian Durant's in the fourth quarter and this play and the Ridgeway kick and all this stuff. That's a huge play, man. That is a huge play.
Yeah. I don't. That's a good question. I don't think it'll be. So if we fast forward 10 years, will that be the highlight that we all show? For the Grey Cup, probably. Right. If you think about that, you think maybe back to. I kind of like when the Riders won in 2013. Was there a play in the Grey Cup that I think maybe the fumble when Corey Sheets caught that fumble? Like, is that the play? That's the play where you're like, oh, they just solidified. So maybe that's the play. But then I think back to Darian putting the team on his back against BC in the semi.
Yeah,
that to me was like we're galvanized.
Yeah,
Tommy Neal making that catch a week prior. That to me was like the galvanized moment of this team has something about them. when they were able to get that done. Trevor was able to march down the field. That to me is the Trevor Harris drive that's going to be remembered the most, is putting the team on his back and driving down the field to get them to the Grey Cup, with Tommy Neal making that catch. And then, in the Grey Cup, hard to say that's not the play, right? That's what it comes down to. And it started, I was in Winnipeg, and there was a lot of buzz, and then all of a sudden Montreal started driving, and it got a little quieter, and a little quieter, and a little quieter, and I was like, oh no, they're going to find a way to let this one slip away, because they were in control. And then, Devon Campbell makes that big play, and for how many interceptions he's made this year and how many big plays he's made, that would be the best one, when his fist knocks that ball loose, or his helmet, or whatever it was.
Hey, last one for you. Taylor, you're closer to it than I am, being the beat reporter there. Have you heard anything, any whispers of when we might hear of a TV deal? We heard this much ballyhooed new websites for the teams and a CFL app and all that stuff. I put out a tweet yesterday saying, and it wasn't sarcastic, I said, I'm really looking forward to see when they do this, because I haven't heard anything. And hey, if you don't have a TV deal, the league's dead. So they're going to make all these changes and I'm not saying the league's dead, but they're going to make all these changes by 2027, and we don't have a TV deal after 2026. And let's be honest, that's why Stu Johnston was hired, to get a TV deal. So have you heard anything? And are you kind of thinking what's going on here too?
I'm waiting, but no, I haven't heard anything. I think in talking with them, the league, before, I don't think they want to go into the last season without a deal for the next season, if that makes sense. So I expect it to happen sometime before. I don't think there's an urgency to get it out in February, March. I would say closer to the season. Maybe we see it in May, right before the season, to generate some buzz. But yes, the new websites, the app, the fantasy football that they have talked about, I haven't heard any of that since Grey Cup week. So I assume that's in the work behind the scenes, and we'll start to see that as we get closer, maybe to the draft, the combine, like training camps opening. Maybe that's when you generate some buzz, as opposed to right now. How many people are going to go rush to sign up for a CFL fantasy football league in February? Probably not many, compared to, say, May, right around training camps. Hey, get your leagues together. So I don't know if there's a lot of urgency right now to get any of that out. That's not to say they're not working on it, and that's also not to say none of that has been finalized and finished yet. Maybe it's still in the works. So if we're doing this interview in May and all that stuff is not out, then that is a totally different answer. But for February, I don't think there's a lot of panic right now.
Well, have fun at the Ringette Rink and the hockey rink. Thanks for your time, man. I appreciate your work at the Leader Post too.
All right. Thanks for the chat.